You ever get that weird feeling that somebody's watching you and nothing's there? Maybe it's just, oh! What's up, guys? This is Courtney, one half of the Brothers Deconstruction here. It's been quite some time, I know, but I'm here to bring you my review for The Invisible Man. Side note, spoilers as usual, but you probably figured that already. The Invisible Man just came out this past weekend, literally on Friday. Today is Sunday at the time of this recording, and I know it's been quite some time, and I'm also getting a review up of a movie that recently just came out. It's shocking, right? I just saw the movie. I just got out of it a couple of hours ago, and it's pretty damn good. The Invisible Man is one of Universal's iconic movie monsters, along with the Wolfman, Frankenstein, Dracula, things like that. In that franchise, it doesn't seem to be leading into like their whole weird Universal dark universe thing. It will work. It works as a standalone film, and that's the really, really cool thing about it, while also still possibly having a thread in the film that might lead down the line to maybe if they want to bring everything together like Monster Squad or something like that. I don't know. I don't think they're even still thinking of doing that. Going back to the movie, Elizabeth Moss stars in this as Cecilia. I believe Cecilia, not Sicily. For some odd reason, I want to say Sicily. But Cecilia, Aldous Hodge is in it. He stars her friend James. Storm Reed is even in it. She plays James's daughter. Cecilia is in an abusive relationship. The good thing about this film, and it being damn good, is that it's about something, but it doesn't beat you over the head with it. If I was to tell you that there's a new movie and it's based around an abusive relationship and a woman escaping, you might roll your eyes because there's a very heavy-handed way that you can present that film. They don't do this at all with The Invisible Man, and I think it's actually a cool way that they've introduced this iconic movie monster, because Elizabeth Moss's Cecilia, I should say, Cecilia is in an abusive relationship. The movie opens up with her literally escaping or literally running out of this relationship. She gets up in the middle of the night and she leaves. Cut to 2 weeks later, she's staying at James's house with him and his daughter. Her sister comes by with news that her abusive boyfriend, who's this scientist and owns this massive tech company that deals with optics and things like that, he's dead of an apparent suicide. The movie then goes on from there as a really, really interesting paranoia film. Now, this movie isn't filled with jump scares. It has maybe one in it, but if you're a paranoid person, this movie is going to get to you. This is a paranoid person's worst nightmare. Like I did in my little opening for the review, there have been plenty of times when you feel like somebody's watching you and there's nobody in the house with you. This feasts upon those fears. There are long, drawn-out moments in the film where she just turns around and looks at a wall, and the camera just points at a corner in the room. We don't know if he's there or not. We assume that he is because so much has already been happening, but we honestly don't know if he's there or if he's in another part of the room or something like that. And there are moments where they use that and then something happens. Like in one scene, a knife gets picked up off a kitchen counter. Another scene looks at the room and you see impressed like feet on the ground on a sheet or something like that. So it was really, really cool to kind of frame the film that way, because they also did a good job of using sound as well, or the lack of sound. So when it looks at the corner of the room, there is no horror music like the typical music that you hear. It just looks at the room and it's just quiet. that builds suspense because you honestly don't know if he's in the room or not. And I think Elizabeth Moss did a great job in this film playing somebody that's losing their fucking mind, because as the movie goes on, she loses her mind more and more. She starts to look more and more disheveled because of the shit that she's been through. And after that, she just, starts looking worn down, and people around her start thinking that she's crazy. And it's the typical kind of thing, I guess you can say. I don't know if this is necessarily a trope, but there's stories, we see this in movies a lot, so it might actually be a trope. It probably is. But when somebody swears up and down that they saw something, or something, this one particular thing is going on, and nobody believes them because they sound crazy. When you're absolutely sure of something and nobody believes you, is the worst thing. I mean, I'm a big documentary person, like true crime TV shows and things like that. This reminded me of an episode of Stalked, Someone's Watching, or I don't want to necessarily say Snapped or anything like that, but any TV show, any true crime, investigation, discovery type of TV show that deals with people being stalked or people being kind of paranoid after being in an abusive relationship or having some type of trauma and thinking that somebody's following them or watching them. This is that movie, because there are times where she tries to explain to them, hey, he's in this room, or he's found a way to make himself invisible, but I don't know how. And people look at her like she's crazy because she sounds crazy. She does. And I think Elizabeth did a really, really good job portraying that. And I think they did a good job of kind of dressing her up and making her look worn down and tired and just put her through a lot of shit. I think Aldous Hodge, in the small role that he had, he's a big part of her life. I mean, she goes to live with him, and he's basically her friend. I don't know if they had some previous romantic relationship or not. I need to look more into that. I don't think they did. But he does a pretty good job of being kind of that older brother, that friend that's just helping, that's just lending a helping hand. It's like, hey, I'm here for you. He's a cop as well. I'm here for you. Let's work through this. We'll get over it. Even early on in the film, before her sister comes over with the news, she's working on going outside. She's become extremely agoraphobic because she thinks that her ex is out there. And he just tries to get her to go to the mailbox. Just go to the mailbox. That's baby steps. Look, just aim that. I'm pretty sure there's mail in there that we need to get. So she attempts to go out there. She goes to the mailbox, but then there's a guy jogging in the neighborhood. He comes running up behind her and past her. She freaks out and runs back in the house. So, yeah, she's pretty traumatized after this whole experience. But yeah, overall, I think the acting is solid, and the direction and the cinematography, it isn't super great. I'm not going to say it's the most amazing thing in the world, because it's a lot of the time it's just staring at an empty space in the room. But just having that direction of just having that self-awareness of not filling this movie with jump scares, because this is a really easy premise to use jump scares for. You can't see something. I was always expecting a moment when the camera is just looking off into the space, but we never really got that. There, like I said, there were a couple of moments where something happened, somebody was interacted with in a particular way, and it was kind of a scare moment. But the movie isn't overly scary. It's just makes you uneasy to think, yeah, this technology, well, at least as far as we know, this technology isn't real. But what if it was? It could be somebody standing in the room with me right now. And this, again, if you have a very active imagination and you swear that there are moments where you're being watched, and you get up and you turn the lights on in the room just to double check and clear a room, I do that myself. Every now and then I just get some weird feeling and I get up and I turn all the lights on in the apartment. There's nothing there. I just turn them on just to make myself feel better and then turn them back off and go back and come back in my room. This movie will drive you up a wall just thinking about that. So I think they did a really, really good job with that premise and using it in this particular way. Overall, the movie is pretty good. It's not perfect. I think there are times they did a good job with adding levity and having funny moments here and there. I think the ending probably could have been better. I've given my spoiler warning already, and if you don't care, I mean, you can keep watching. And if you've seen it, you already know. But the movie ends with her it comes out that her ex didn't kill himself, and that his brother attacked James's daughter, Sydney, who's that Storm Reed's character. The Invisible Man went to James's house, attacked Sydney. Cecilia shot the Invisible Man after using a fire extinguisher to kind of show where he was at. There's a sequence earlier in the film where she got a gun. She shot him and she killed him. She took the mask off. It turns out that it's Adrian's brother, Tom. Okay, cool. We now know who it is, which I kind of called when she started taking the mask off. I was like, it's not Adrian, it's Tom. Turns out that it's Tom. So, then it's like, oh, well, damn, maybe Adrian really is dead and his brother did all of this. No, Adrian is alive. They find him tied up in the basement of his apartment or of his house. She's not ready to accept that Tom did all of this. And Adrian was tied up and he's a victim. And she says, no, he did this. He's not a victim. She goes and meets up with him, which I thought was stupid, but then it turns out that she's wearing a wire and she's trying to get him to confess to everything. She's also pregnant, by the way, which is something that we find out. She thought she was taking birth control behind Adrian's back. He knew, he switched it out, so she's pregnant. So she goes and meets up with him saying, look, if you want to be in this baby's life, we need to start fresh with honesty. You need to tell me that you did all of this. And he's there, I didn't do it, blah, blah, blah. She goes off to the bathroom. She's crying. She goes off to the bathroom. Let me clean myself up. He's sitting there at the dinner table. Next thing you know, he's already holding a knife because that he invited her over. She called him, but they made this date to eat and sit down and talk and do whatever. So he's already holding a knife, cuts his own throat, or that's what it looks like. He cuts his own throat. Earlier toward the climax of the film, before it really, really popped off, she went back to the house, found a suit, the optical suit, and hid it. So what she did when she went out to the bathroom, she went back, grabbed the suit, put it on, and killed him. On the security footage, it looks like he killed himself. She calls the ambulance. She backs out of the way of the camera. Boo-hoo. Shuts that off, leaves. James comes in and is like, you didn't even want a confession, did you? She says, I did, but he sounded unstable to me. What did it sound like to you? So I think the ending of her killing him, I'm not too sure how to feel about it right now. I was expecting it to be a typical, he does confess, and he, she gets it, she gets him arrested, blah, blah, blah. But no, he was adamant in saying, I didn't do this, my brother was controlling me, which is something that Tom said Adrian did to him. So she took it into her own hands. So I think her doing that was a little, again, I don't really know how to feel about it, but at the same time, overall, it doesn't really detract from the film. And like I said, with the potential for there to be maybe a sequel or for them to kind of swing this into like a larger universe, when she's leaving and she talks to James after he's like, wait, what happened? Because he's listening in. He just hears her on the phone with 911 saying, oh my God, think he's killed himself. He runs in there, he sees her. She says, it's okay, he killed himself. She has the suit with her in a duffel bag. That suit is out there now. She can go back and use that. She can bury it, whatever. But she has that suit in her possession. So that's a potential thread that they have right there that they can play with. But yeah, this is a really, really good movie. I suggest you see it. Don't go into it expecting jump scares and all this crazy shit. But it's a movie built on the foundation of paranoia. And it's paranoia that everybody has experienced before. Again, there are moments where I'm just sitting around or I'm watching TV. Now, what I'm watching may or may not have something to do with that particular feeling in that moment. But there are times where I'm like, you know, let me just go ahead and get up, turn the light on in the kitchen, the living room. All right, kind of act like I got up to get something, but I really didn't, as if somebody's watching me. We all have that. So I think this is a really good film that plays upon that preys upon that fear and plays around with it. Again, Lee Winnell did a really, really good job, and he kind of hinted that somebody on Twitter said something about him directing the other Universal monster movies, and I think he recently signed a deal with Universal or something like that, and he said that, oh, I'll never tell what else I'm going to do or something like that. So it's good to see him still, you know, making movies and things like that, especially since he's come such a long way from the first Saw. Hopefully it does well. I think it had a pretty nice opening weekend for Friday. So we'll see what the box office turns out to be, you know, tomorrow. But yeah, go check it out, guys. That's my review for The Invisible Man. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Stay tuned to the channel. Again, I know it's been a while. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get some videos up soon. There is a film coming out soon that I actually want to go see. Comes out on March 13th. Can't think of the name of it, but it was a trailer for The Invisible Man. And I was like, I'm gonna go see that. Probably going to review some TV show episodes and things like that. I have a personal matter to attend to back at home that I'm probably gonna have to travel for in a couple of weeks. I don't know. I'm waiting on some news. So I don't exactly know if I'm going to be able to upload for all of the 5 people that actually watch the videos. So yeah, just want to give you guys a heads up on that. But I am back, and ideally I'm going to be contributing more, especially since I work a regular shift now. I'm working a day shift schedule, and yeah, so hopefully more videos will be coming for me. So again, as always, guys, I appreciate any and all support, whether it's 1, 5, 10, or 100 views, and stay tuned to the channel. I'll catch up with you guys later.